And now, Mike's thoughts.
Man Hour Nation, Man Hour Nation, Man Hour Nation. Many people are up in arms right now because the Chiefs, my Kansas City Chiefs, are not, quote, holding joint practices. They said, since the Kansas City Chiefs are the standard of the NFL, they should be having joint practices so other teams can, quote, catch up. I got to sit here thinking, and I do love me some joint practices. I personally think joint practices are better than preseason games. If you get a chance to get to actually watch joint practices, there's a lot of one-on-ones, there's a lot of good reps that happen. But when you Raider fans, that's right, you Raider fans are dogging my Kansas City Chiefs because we're not helping you guys out, helping the rest of the NFL get better. Y'all ain't held any joint practices either. So keep my name out your mouth when we are dealing with shit like this. Because joint practices are great, but the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to hold none. They don't want to hold none. Raiders, y'all don't want to hold none either. It is what it is at the end of the day. But with that being said, it is time to welcome you guys into the Man Hour NFL Talk. We're continuing our NFC North trek across the landscape. We've covered the Packers. We've covered the Chicago Bears. We've covered the Minnesota Vikings. But today it is time to, quote, restore the roar, as my man John People says. And we got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, my idol, Mr. Luke G, into the chat. What's up, Luke?
Hey, what's going on, Buck? Hey, listen, man, that intro right there, I'm going to have to take that and put that on one of my videos.
Which one's that? The
intro you gave for me. I like that one. That one, the man, the myth, the legend. I like all that. That's all good stuff. It's
Listen,
great talk, man.
I will record it for you, and I'll make it hype. And, dude, people will go crazy about it because you are the greatest Lions podcast out there, hands down. But, guys, we are talking to Luke G from Luke G's Field Review, guys. Over here at youtube.com/Luke G's Field Review. Be sure to check him out, guys. He puts on, seriously, one of the best Detroit Lions shows out there. He gives everybody a voice. But, Luke, don't let me take your thunder. Tell the people about your show, man.
You know, Luke G's Field Review is a Lion-based channel that is for the people, by the people. Essentially, it's a channel that allows for you to literally jump on at that very moment that I say something you don't like and tell me, I don't like that and I don't agree with you. Or to give your viewpoint. I've even given people opportunities to have a segment where I've given them 20 or 30 minutes of them to talk their Lions talk on my show. We cover everything Detroit Lions. We do film review. We talk about, the politics of the game. Everything I'm going to say is not going to be agreed upon by most of the people who listen. And everything that most of the people who listen are going to say, I'm not going to agree upon. But it's about lifting each other up and producing a product that allows you to have a voice in a form that's a little bit different than most.
Yeah, and every time I get a chance to jump on your show, I have a great time. The rumor has it you are the biggest ketchup lover out there. So, guys, if you...
That is a lie. That is definitely a lie. I've never heard of any such thing like that. I'm not a fan of ketchup. I think mustard's better. And, we going to stick to see, Buck, you're trying to get people in trouble, but it's not going to work today. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work today. But, hey, did you know that relish is actually legitimately just chopped up dill pickles? I
do.
I lived 36 years on this earth, and just like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, what is relish? I'm kind of curious. Oh, it's actually pickles. Seriously, I thought it was some Chinese made thing. It's pretty good. I like me some relish. Put a little bit of relish on the hot dog.
A little bit, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. You get you a little bit of relish, maybe a tomato. To get it Chicago style,
Exactly. We're not going to be hopping up Chicago too much here because the Chicago Bears are complete trash this year. I'm just going to call it how I see it. They are a 6-11 team. But, Luke, there has been some stuff happening across the NFL landscape that I think your Detroit Lions might be interested about. So, one of the things in the last 2-3 days, Brandon Ayuk has officially requested a trade. He says he wants out of San Francisco. I had several people, the main person, my man Arthur Brown, saying, I really don't like the receiver core up there in Detroit. Would Brandon Ayuk be a good fit in Detroit? And I was like, I got to ask my man Luke G that. So, Luke, would you like Brandon Ayuk to come to Detroit and give you guys some, like, boost, I guess?
I put it like this. You know, the Lions have made a number of different investments in receivers, from Antoine Green to even, Khalif Raymond. And I know that the Lions faithful love their receivers, but I'm not sure I want to trade for Brandon Ayuk. I think receiver is one of the easier positions to play coming from college to the pros. And I think Brandon Ayuk is a very good person. If he becomes a free agent, do I want to sign him? Sure. Do I want to trade for him? Absolutely not. I'm not trying to give up anything for a guy who's going to not only be traded to this team, but want another contract. And we just paid Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, yeah, I'm, on top of the Jared Goff contract, the Penei Sewell contract, and the contract that's coming down the pipeline as we speak, I'm not in the mood for it. Now, if he's a free agent and Detroit goes say, hey, you want to come here and be a Lion? And he's like, yeah. All right, well, come on. But if I got to trade anything, if you're telling me I can get him for a 7th, maybe. But anything higher than a 7th, I'll pass on Brandon Ayuk. I do not believe that we should have given up anything. Now, to answer the question of is he a good fit? Absolutely. Anybody who's playing with Ben Johnson is a good fit. Buck, you're a good fit with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has been scheming up offenses that has been rivaling so many other people. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. But outside of that, I think Ayuk is one of those guys that most Lions fans are going to say, yeah, bring him here. Absolutely. Him, Amon-Ra. Oh. I look at it and I just go, look, you've made your investments in who you made your investments in. You invested it in Jameson Williams, a guy that you let sit out for a year and try to come along. So he's got to get his playing time in. You've reinvested into Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've kept Khalif Raymond. You drafted Antoine Green. Like I said, the receivers is not the issue. You got a tight end who's essentially a damn receiver in Laporta. Only way I can see us coming after him is if he hits free agency.
Yeah, so my man, one of the top fans over here at Man Hour, John Pebbles, says, nope, he doesn't want him. He's too much drama. Do you think the drama would follow him, or do you think Dan Campbell would kind of straighten him out if he were to come?
Yeah, Dan Campbell's words were, we want no turds. And so if he is full of the drama, like people say he is, then he definitely won't be a Lion. The question is he considered full of drama because the media says so and the fans are getting the beat that he's full of drama? Or does he have a legit gripe to be upset about his role there? Like, outside of Deebo Samuel, who keeps getting hurt, who's their next best option at the receiver position? And it's Ayuk. So yeah, I can see why he would hype himself up and toot his horn right now, because there is no better option past him. Yeah, you go George Kittle, you go Deebo Samuel, sure, you got Christian McCaffrey, but I'm your receiver. I'm the one that's going to allow for a lot of other things to happen. So, but I don't know if I would say he's full of drama, but if he is, he would not make it here in Detroit. We've moved on from people with less drama, and Cam Sutton, or even less than that. You can go through Quintez Cephas. You just keep going down the pipeline of receivers. DJ Chark, anybody who's caused that drama has not been here.
Right. So, when Arthur presented me with like the Ayuk trade to Detroit, I thought personally, you guys had a pretty solid receiver core, right? You got your Jameson, you got St. Brown, you got Reynolds. I was like, that seems like a pretty good core. Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah, Reynolds is gone. He signed, I want to say with the Chargers. I'm almost sure, but he's not even on the team no more. But basically you have Jameson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond. They're going to give Antoine Green some playing time. It's another receiver. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now that we just picked up as an undrafted free agent who's been making a lot of noise through the different camps. But for the most part, receivers are a dime a dozen in my opinion. And if the Lions are patient and wait, I really believe that you can add another quality receiver or two before the start of the season even happen.
Yeah, and you guys traded for Peoples Jones mid-season last year too.
Peoples Jones,
well.
that's his name.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, Peoples Jones, Donovan Peoples Jones.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of his name. We had him. We got Donovan Peoples Jones, but it's another guy that is an undrafted receiver. I can't think of his name. It's an undrafted guy.
Was it the Traquan Smith?
What school, please? You know the school or no?
What's that?
No, it wasn't Traquan because Traquan came from the Saints. It was he came from a school. It's gonna come to me. It'll come to me. Give me a minute. It'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, their receiving core is literally made up of the same thing the Lions made their team up in the first place.
Yep.
Which is a bunch of people who are out to prove that, hey, I'm better than what you think I am.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of been the Lions' MO, I think, when, quote, restoring the roar going on into the season. So, guys, once again, we are talking with my man Luke G from Luke G Field Review over at youtube.com/Luke G's Field Reviews. Hands down the best Detroit Lions podcast you guys will ever listen to. If you like Detroit Lions, tune into him. He will definitely get you right. We are talking with him, and we talked a little bit about Brandon Ayuk potentially getting traded. Luke G says, no, I don't want that drama. But some of the drama that you need to have is disruption in the backfield. You need some type of edge guy this season, I think. And last season, the pass/rush production, getting in the backfield, stopping the run, seemed to be kind of maybe the Achilles heels of the Detroit Lions last season. Aiden Hutchinson obviously kind of stepped up and is that man, the myth, the legend on the one side of the ball. But do you see anybody else on the Detroit the defensive line of the ball that can get pass rush, that can get run stopping production?
You know, it's one of the things that I was definitely concerned about. And one of the things that I've always pointed out, like, you know, I heard this quote a long time ago from one of the guys that do good work named Miko. He says, Aiden Hutchinson is Greek yogurt. He's plain Greek yogurt. And I was like, what do you mean? And he says, you know, plain Greek yogurt by itself isn't all that tasty. But if you add some fruit or some honey or some granola to it, it changes it and it tastes so much better. And so essentially that stuck with me, and it reminded me of, okay, who is the fruit that we added to the Greek yogurt opposite of him? And their answer was Betts, a CFL sack leader who had 18 sacks, is giving more playing time to James Houston, a guy that they didn't think was going to be as good as he was, but he showed that he can, you know, produce. And then they're hitching their bets on Marcus Davenport. And so when I look at that group and that rotation, do I feel like that's enough? No. Do I feel comfortable with that? No. Would I rather there be a more perennial guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that really draws attention? Yes. Am I praying that guy is the CFL defensive end Betts? I sure am. Because that's the area of the ball that I'm a little concerned with. And I know that we added DJ Reader, but, you know, what about the other guys? What about the guy that's going to be a huge threat? And so whenever I hear people talk about the no-fly zone for the Denver Broncos, I often remind them that we're not even nowhere near the no-fly zone. And, oh, yeah, we do. We got the cornerbacks. And I go, but they have DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Like their backups were good.
Right.
We don't have that. So, yeah, I'm with you on that concern as it pertains to the guy opposite of Aiden Hudson and wondering where we're going to get that production from.
So that's a great question that I'm going to ask you now. Now, obviously, there are going to be camp cuts, you know, come week 2, week 3 of the NFL preseason, potentially pick up some depth from team sloppy seconds per se. But as currently constructed, can you guys be a top 10 defense?
Ooh, you know what? I don't think we need to be. You know, to get where we're going and how we're going to get there, I don't think we need to be. I think being a top 10 is great, but if you're in that top 15 to 20 area, I think it's more than enough for you to get where you need to be. It really does boil down to timing and momentum. And when you look at the Lions right now, they are having great timing with great momentum. And it's been happening since the end of their I want to say the end of the second year where they went on like a 7 or 8 game win streak, and then it carry over to the next season with us coming out beating those Kansas City Chiefs. It's just been carrying. Yeah, I had to throw that in there too, Buck. Sorry, it's just the truth. But it's one of the things that I look at and I say, the momentum is there. It's just a matter of doing it. So they just need to be around like 15. We still got a lot of young guys out there. We got some veterans on the secondary with Amik Robertson, with people like Carlton Davis. Those are veteran guys. One of the biggest silent acquisitions or things that's happening that nobody's really paying attention to, but they will pay attention to soon, is moving Brian Branch from that slot corner to full-time safety. Yeah. That's going to cause a huge problem for people because now you give him more room to do his thing and work his magic, and I think he will show up in a big way. So, but to say, are we going to be top 10? I don't get the feel for top 10, but I also don't think we need to be top 10 to get where we want to go.
Yeah, and also to add to the Brian Branch aspect there, last season he played about 30% of the snaps, maybe 40%. Seemed to make a lot of impact when he was in there. When a player like that gets his feet under him and starts the momentum, it's just up and up and up. So my man John Peoples is in the chat here, Luke, and he wants to put out this statement. He says, Lions versus Raiders in Super Bowl 59, Raiders win 31-28. So I know you do not like that outcome by any stretch of the imagination, and the Raiders even in the playoffs is just blasphemy. But you, as a longtime Detroit Lions fan, as long as you've been alive, the Detroit Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl. If the Detroit Lions this season were to make it to the Super Bowl but lose, would you still be think it's a satisfactory season?
100%. 100%, because you have to understand, we have been progressively getting better, and each inch that we take to getting better is met with, happiness and joy. We went from winning 3 games to winning 7 games, right? We went from winning 7 games to winning the NFC North. We went from winning the NFC North to getting to the NFC Championship game. Now, to go from the NFC Championship game, which we lost and we should have won, which I believe had we won that, we would have won that Super Bowl, because I believe even with all
you rolled your brony.
Hey, just tell them the truth, just facts. Because you got to think, we play with a different style. You guys, wasn't used to people going for it on 4th down religiously. We going for it. So, but the thing is you have people who don't see it. So to go from an NFC Championship game to a Super Bowl, that's progression, and it's progression worth noting, and it just increases the need for me to say, you know what, now I want more. Now I want to have a Super Bowl win the next year. But anything that leads to us to a Super Bowl is 100% success. Okay, like that's the absolute ceiling for us. The floor for us is NFC Championship game. You have to get back there. You cannot not get back to the NFC Championship game, and I think we will do just that.
Yeah, only time will tell. The NFL preseason starts here, 14 days, so football is just a ride around the corner. And Jay Gillian pops in the chat here, and he says, do not sleep on the linebacking group either. Expect Jack Campbell to get much better, as well as Barnes. That group will be solid all the way around this season. And that is actually my next question for you, Luke, is can Jack Campbell emerge as a defensive leader this season, do you think?
He's going to have to. And unfortunately for most Lions fans and those people listening, it's the biggest concern for me. It's the linebacking core. I know Alex Anzalone had a career year with us. I think that's great. I'm happy about it. Hey, he had a career year, right? I know that Barnes is going to get better. I know Jack Campbell's going to get better. But the question still remains, are they good enough to deal with the onslaught of quarterbacks we are about to go against? And if you look at our schedule, most of the quarterbacks that we go against are mobile. And if you look at what our problem was last year, was mobile quarterbacks. If they take off and run, things broke down. I mean, Brock Purdy was looking like Michael Vick, and that's why they won that game, because our linebackers could not do it. Now, granted, Jack Campbell was a rookie, Anzalone was not, right? And so all these different things lend itself a different question. So with an improved secondary, hopefully an improved interior D line, and hopefully some help on the opposite side to add to that plain Greek yogurt, they should be better. We should have more success, and we should be in a position to do some things. But that's my biggest concern is that linebacking core, because if you are a team coming in right now and you are looking at the Lions and asking yourself how would you attack them, it has to be go after the linebackers.
Yeah,
that would be my belief.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, what makes a linebacker great is a great defensive front, and those are kind of two of the weakest points of the whole team here. So, guys, once again, we are talking to Luke G from Luke G's Field Review. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. Link is in the description below. Go ahead and get over there and give him a subscribe. I'm sure he's going to be starting his show back up here very, very shortly with the NFL season right around the corner. But first things first, Luke, I forgot to congratulate you on your birth of your child. Congratulations. Congratulations on that. But there's been a lot of people in here that want to see the Lions in the Super Bowl. John said he wants to see Raiders versus Lions. I've seen Browns versus Lions as well from James Frank here. But in your ideal realm here, Luke, obviously the Lions make the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl. Who do you think the Lions would play in the Super Bowl?
You know what? Honestly, listen, this is something that the Lions fan base has been waiting on so long. We have been spoiled to high heaven here in Detroit with the Red Wings. And so the fact that the Red Wings is not the Red Wings that we know, when the Red Wings were essentially like the New England Patriots of hockey, it's been slow there. We've been spoiled with the Pistons, not only with the bad boys, but the go-to-work Pistons, right? And we even had some success with the Tigers. The city is starving for the Lions to just get to Super Bowl, let alone win one. And the truth is you can put the armies of Troy and Genghis Khan against us. It doesn't matter. We just want to be in the dance. We're ready for the battle and the war, and we want to be in the dance because for us, getting there and looking at the history of the Lions, if you go through and you look at most people highlights, there's at least 12 of them with the Lions in there, right? Because we historically have had the wrong side of the luck train, right? So if there was an ideal situation for us to play a team in the Super Bowl that I will want to see the Lions play, because I believe it not only gives us the best chance to win, but it also gives us a greater deal of credibility, it would be to take out the defending champs themselves, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the quarterback that everyone is hyped over about in Mahomes. And they have the championship, and they're trying to go for a three-peat. So to take that not only legitimizes our win, but sets us above another level, because if they get that third win, they get the dynasty stamp. We would be the reason to stop all that. So I like that storyline a little bit better. And the only other option that I would like to see in terms of seeing a team go against us that hasn't been there would be something that hasn't happened, like you said, maybe one of those teams like maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans and something, where you get to have some teams that's never been there giving you a different game where people have to really see a battle come out. But overall, one of my favorite movies has DJ Quill in it, and he says, go into the prison and knock out the biggest guy. I want that honor.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, and many people are pointing out that why not end a perfect season of beating the Kansas City Chiefs just like they beat the Kansas City Chiefs first game of last season, which, it is what it is. But Jim Powell brings up a great point, Luke, and he says Dan Campbell goes for it every time. They will lose early, meaning lose early in the playoffs. Now, I said it on our show after the Detroit Lions went for 3 or 4 times on fourth down versus the Dallas Cowboys, and it ultimately ended up costing them the game. Do you think at some point in a big game, like in the playoffs, Dan Campbell is going to go for it, and they're going to miss it, and he's going to get ridiculed and potentially get ran out of town? Do you ever see that happening?
Ran out of town? No. Ridiculed? Yes. He was ridiculed the moment they signed him. They ridiculed him for putting on a racing helmet when he's promoting the Grand Prix brand here. They ridiculed him for saying he wanted to bite the kneecaps. This is a part of the job. He knows this. They even label him as a meathead. They talked about him when you get the Dallas Cowboys, you win for it 3 or 4 times. But hey, guess what? We all know what happened in that game. They clearly scored the 2-point conversion, but he didn't report eligible. That was a bunch of BS. And then on top of that, we know that most fans are like, you should have go for it. Hell, even Amon-Ra St. Brown recently on the TV show Receiver said, I'm sorry, not the TV show Receiver, but on the Pivot, he said that he felt that the Lions, after they didn't get it the second time, they should have just took the field goal and stuff. But nobody's looking at the fact that our defense wasn't stopping a nosebleed, and they would have just needed a field goal to win the game. And so, do I think he's going to cost them a game or two? Sure, because you live by a certain code, you die by it. The same way I watched the Golden State Warriors lose many games shooting too many threes. Nobody comes back and say, Golden State, you lost this game because you shot too many 3-point shots. Nobody goes and tells Golden State, hey, calm down the 3-point shooting. They just keep telling them, hey, keep jacking it up, it's going to land. So you have to live by these things, right? And so I expect for there to be some backdraws on it. But for the most part, he has managed the game accordingly. He has created a mentality amongst this team that rivals others. And if it's one thing that is you can no longer show up and look at your schedule and say, Detroit win. You can't say that no more. And that's because of Dan Campbell. So him going for it a lot, I love it. In fact, I think more teams should go for it on 4th. In fact, because of him, more teams are now going for it on 4th. Why not? Yeah. I never understood the days where you had Jerome Bettis or Marshawn Lynch and it's 4th and 1. Give him the ball.
Yeah,
you got Derrick Henry.
You are 100% correct. And the NFL is a copycat league, just like high school is a copycat league. Like I'm a head coach here at our high school, and there is a high school coach in Texas that never punts the ball and always onside kicks it, and he's won 5 straight championships. But
you know what? I forgot who said it. I think it was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said, what makes you great is not doing what everybody else is doing or doing what everybody else can do. It's doing what they don't want to do.
Right.
It's doing what they like. When they're not willing to stay after practice and take 500 shots, I am, right? When they're not willing to try something different, I am. And when you look at it, the Lions are winning because of that whole mantra. We're throwing balls to tight ends. We're throwing balls to offensive tackles, guards, deep tackles, tight ends, full. There's nobody off the table for us. When you look at the Eagles, when they started having one of the biggest plays that they call was the Philly special, right? And you can go through and look at a host of other teams who have won in those years, who have called things out of the box that nobody thought about. I think the Saints were the first team to open a Super Bowl with an onside kick. Right. So, and what happened? They won. So these things do make a difference. It disrupts the pattern and it throws people off because guess what? When everybody's playing by a certain set of rules and you come in and be like, I'm going to play within the rules, but a little bit different, it changes the way you move. So kudos to that guy for basically saying, forget the punt. We're going for it.
Right. Yeah. And 5 state championships is unreal, especially in the state of Texas here.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Texas treat their high school football more important than the Dallas Cowboys and the Texans combined. It is absolutely amazing to me.
That is 100% facts. So, Luke, before I let you go here, Jay Jillian's got one question for you. Actually, I got a question for you, but he says the Detroit Lions got a new kicker. They'd signed that new kicker by the name of Jake Bakes. He's from the UFL. Mm-hmm. He's been hitting like 65-yard bombs repetitively over and over and over. How big a signing was Jake Bakes to the Lions?
You know what? It's to be seen because he also missed some of those 65-yard kicks, right? But the thing is when he made the 65-yard kick, it was in our house because he plays for the Michigan Panthers, who plays at Ford Field. So we know that he can hit 65 yards in Ford Field. That's a huge thing. But what we don't know is how consistent can he be. Kicking is a position that requires consistency. So if he can come in and give us consistent kicks where he's spot on from 40, 45 out, great. If he's over 60% from 50 to 60, great. And if he's literally at 35 to 40% from 65 on up, even better. But it's going to be about consistency. So the most important part of it is it creates competition for the other kickers and for us to see what it was. Because one of the reasons I think that many people look at it and say we took it for fourth down so many times because we didn't trust our kicker. We just didn't. Our punter, all pro, we know what we get in him. This kicker, we just don't trust him. And every time you gave him a chance to do it, he's had some misses that we were like, that should have been a chip shot. So I'm hoping that Bates is consistent and earns the spot and stays consistent, and then it would be a great signing. But that is yet to be seen. And until then, it's hard for me to give him any more praise than that. I need consistency before I can start to praise the signing.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be gloating that you guys have an all-pro punter at all, because that means he's punted a lot in his in the NFL season to get those numbers up. But don't shoot the messenger, just shoot the facts. But Luke, you have said it's basically NFC Championship or bust for the Detroit Lions. Let's say,
yes.
Let's just play devil's advocate here. Let's say they are a first round exit, a wild card exit. They just play bad. Jared Goff throws a couple interceptions, missed field goals. Defense just looks sloppy. How is the offseason going to look if you guys are a first round exit?
If that happens, is really going to come down to what led to that first round exit. Was it poor defensive play? Was it poor talent acquisition? Was it poor play by the players? Was it poor coaching? Was it poor scheme? Like, all of these things are going to come into play. See, when things are going wrong, you're trying to figure out where to stop the leaking before the leak turns into a flood. And I think if that happens as a first round exit and we lost to a quality opponent who was just, miles ahead of us, then it's a matter of, okay, how do we get better and surpass them? Well, you need to add better, more tougher talent. Okay, cool. But if we lose to a team that we have no business losing to, yeah, the first person that's going to go is Aaron Glenn. Many fans in the media is already on a fire Aaron Glenn train. They believe that he is the problem for a lot of the things that we have going on. And a lot of them also believe that our defense would have played better had he not been here. I'm not one of those people. I believe that Aaron Glenn has did a phenomenal job and has gotten a whole lot out of very little. To me, that is to be commended. But that's what I think happens if they get a swift first-round exit and it's without any just cause or anything like that. It'll be for that following reason and that following reason alone.
All righty, man. So, guys, we are talking to my man Luke G from Luke G's Field Reviews, and we did have one more question pop up from my man Jim Powell. He wants to know your thoughts on Hendon Hooker. Is he going to be a backup? Is he going to be a third stringer? Are they going to trade him?
I am so sad about the Hendon Hooker because, in my opinion, we should have let Jared Goff play this last year on his contract. I understand that the contract was going to get expensive if you do this. I'm okay with that because guess what? If he gets to a Super Bowl and they win it, pay him, right? Like, that's what you do. You pay and reward success. I have no problem. But Hendon Hooker, to me, I'm very sad about it because Hendon Hooker, to me, speaks the future. And while many people may point to Andre Ware from back in the 90s where he was a Heisman winner and didn't do so well for us, I looked at Hendon Hooker and I said, look at the high school. They said he couldn't do it. He did it. Look at college. He went to Virginia Tech, took the starting spot, never gave it up, and was successful. Went to Tennessee. They said, that offense is very friendly to quarterbacks. Well, look at Tennessee this year without Hendon Hooker. Was very – I love when the kids come in and show love.
Yeah.
But, Hendon Hooker came into Tennessee and did things that even after he left, it didn't happen again, right? And before he got there, it wasn't happening. So that was more to me, proof that Hendon Hooker is the guy. So it's very sad to me to see that Hendon Hooker won't get that chance because I believe that Hendon Hooker is better than a backup. I believe that Hendon Hooker is a starting quarterback in this league. And I believe that Hendon Hooker in the right team is going to be somebody that people look back on and say, man, that guy was on our team. We missed it. We missed it. We was in favor of this guy. No disrespect to Jared Goff, but the times of the quarterback not being able to escape the pocket have gone and passed. So for me, Hendon Hooker is a guy that I absolutely love. I hope he get a shot, and I hope he gets sent somewhere.
Yeah. So, do you think you're going to trade him or just kind of let him go in free agency? Like, what would an ideal situation be for you?
In my opinion, he's going to sit this year, right? He's going to go. He's going to perform well in the preseason. Then he'll have another preseason where he performs well, and somebody's going to come calling and saying, "Hey, we want Hendon Hooker." And ironically, the team that I think is going to come calling saying that they want to look at Hendon Hooker because I don't trust their quarterback situation all that much. I had three teams. Was one the Dallas Cowboys because I don't know if they really going to stick with Dak Prescott or if they're going to say, you know what, let me try to trade for a guy that I can have ready to rock and roll. And then the second team that I looked at and I said the quarterback situation is going to be intriguing is the Oakland Raiders. Yes, I know what's going on over there in Oakland. I know it. But when you look at Antonio Pierce, he's no fool. He's no fool. He knows exactly what he wants in terms of his quarterback play. And plus, Hendon Hooker, I believe, can easily, secure that spot. And then the last team that I looked at where I said, hey, there could be a quarterback issue that they can, look into and address comes from a team that many people didn't think about, but I think makes more sense. And that is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, yes, they traded for Sam Howell. And yes, they still got Geno Smith, but Geno Smith contract can be easily voided out. Sam Howell, if he don't pan out, is not there. And then you got a guy like Hendon Hooker who comes from that mobile quarterback but playing smart, very similar to what McDonald was used to seeing with in Lamar Jackson over in with the Ravens. So I can see Hendon Hooker going in a lot of different ways, but ultimately I see him probably walking in free agency or a team getting an injury and being like, I need somebody and calling for him.
Yeah, so many people do not like the Hendon Hooker to the Raiders. They're saying, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, says Jim Powell.
Why?
That's what I'm thinking.
Why are you?
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm like look at your quarterback room right now.
Terrible.
Right. like look at your quarterback room. And Hendon Hooker cannot be worse than what you dealt with in the past with Jimmy Garoppolo and O'Connell. Not O'Connell. What's it? O'Connell, I think his name is. He can't be worse than that. And then I believe you guys drafted. I'm drawing a blank on his name now. God grief! I can see his face clear as day. But you drafted a guy, and I'm just saying, Hendon Hooker's already been in the league with a chance to sit, learn, and pick up an NFL system, and he has shown that with preparation like Batman, he's dangerous. So, just saying.
Yeah. They drafted Anthony Brown Jr. from Oregon. It's who they drafted.
That's his name.
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Brown Jr. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm just telling you, I would take Hendon Hooker over that. That's just me. But hey,
listen, Hendon Hooker in Vegas, their 4 wins might turn into 8. I'm just putting it out there for you, Vegas fans. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, Luke, I'm glad to having you on. I don't want to keep you on all day, although I feel like we could talk about your Detroit Lions for hours on end. But with that being said, tell the people about your show and give me your win-loss total for this season.
Yeah, it's Luke G's Fair Review, where we talk all things Detroit Lions. It's an open forum where, yes, I'm on here talking similar to podcast style, but I'm also making you a part of the show. You get to tap in and tell me, hey, Luke, you've lost your mind. Luke, I disagree with this. Hey, Luke, have you thought about that? And it's all about interactive respectability and stuff like that. I'm very big in the suicide prevention, so each show starts off with me talking about preventing suicide. As a person who has lost someone to suicide, I can tell you that it has become a passion and a mission of mine. And at the end of the show, it's always ended with a positive note because I believe that no matter how difficult things get, a positive word can go a long way. So it's a show for us. You can even request me to make videos like, hey, can you look into this player and let me know what your thoughts are? And I'm going to give you the hard truth. So don't be mad at the messenger. As Buck says, shoot the facts, right? Don't shoot the messenger.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things where, you have to really jump in there and be a part of it and see how interactive it is and how much of a joy it is for you to talk to the Lions. Even if you're from an opposite team, if we're going against the Raiders that week, come in and talk your stuff. Tell me why the Raiders are going to stop a hole in us. I'm all ears. It's one of those shows.
Yeah, and I absolutely love your show, love your message, and I actually started to donate money to suicide prevention, like awareness, after I started listening to your show and all that stuff. So it's a great cause. Give me a win-loss total for your Detroit Lions.
I got us winning 12 games, so I got us at 12-5.
12-5. All right, guys. You heard it here first. Luke G says 12-5, and I'm going to tell you that he's wrong right off the bat. He's wrong. Luke, I have him at 10-7. 10-7.
10-7. I mean, listen, we're winning the division. The 12 wins is not as hard as you think by the time you look at when we play people. So I feel real good in that. I mean, we play Jacksonville in the wintertime. They got to travel to us. And yes, we are an indoor team, but it's cold as hell in Detroit. Green Bay gave us a little bit of run for the money. Bears gave us a little run for the money. Vikings, no concerns there. Bucks, Dallas will win those. I feel pretty good. Tennessee, you got to look at everybody's going through like new coaching switches and quarterback switches and stuff. So I feel pretty good.
You might feel good. Tell me that after week 7 when you lose to the Rams, when you lose to the Bucks, and you lose to the Cowboys. Once you play Vikings week 7, have me on. When you guys are 3-2,
by that time we'll probably be 7-1, so it's okay.
This man. All right, Luke. As always, man. Thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you.
No problem, man. Anytime, man. Anytime, hit me up. I'm back. Just say the word.
All right, man. We'll talk to you next time and get some rest. I know with the newborn.
I'm about to. The baby sleep now. So when he sleep, you sleep. That's how it works. Y'all have a good one, man. Stay up.
All right, later, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that is my man Luke G from Luke G's Field Review. If you guys have not had a chance to check him out, check him out. Like, he reached out to me a year or two ago, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you talked about the Detroit Lions. Come on!" And bada bing, bada boom. Like, we've had a connection, and I love that guy. I love that guy very, very much. So we got Lou Man in the chat. He says Lions lose week 18 and miss the playoffs at 8-9. Whoa! Yo, better get this man a beer. 8-9 for the Detroit Lions, Lou Man. Damn. I mean, like, I'm not mad about it, just because that gives my Dallas Cowboys like a headway into the playoffs, like a nice easy playoff road there. But damn, 8-9. Matt Henry's in the chat, says, "Good afternoon, Suz." Good afternoon, Matt. Hope you're having a grand old day. And James Frank says, "See you in the Super Bowl." He says Browns versus Lions in the Super Bowl. We'll be talking about the Browns very, very soon here in 2 weeks, actually. We're doing the AFC South next week, and the week after that, we're doing the AFC North. And that would complete our breakdowns of all the divisions. I want to say the best for last. But the Browns, guys, Browns have never won the division, have they? Just tough. Lou Man says you might be concerned about the Vikings. Vikings are going to be sneakily kind of good but bad all at the same time. Does that make sense? They're going to be good. They're going to be bad all at the same time. James says they're winning that Cowboy game for the revenge. So we got the Week 6 game, right? Week 6, yep. Detroit Lions travel to Dallas Cowboys. The eligible game, right? I'm eligible. We'll see how eligible they are. Good thing is Decker is no longer with the Detroit Lions, right? Either is the other guy that reported eligible as well. I think they're both gone, actually. So it is what it is. James says they haven't won the Browns have not won the division since the 80s. I didn't think they ever won the division. I could be wrong. Once I think they won the division, AFC North twice. Touche. But guys, I do have the Detroit Lions finishing 10-7 this season. And I know what you're going to say, but a month ago you had them at 11 wins. You had them at 12 wins. I did have them at 12 wins when we first broke them down. I did have them beating the Rams week 1. I did have them beating the Cowboys week 6. But I've gone back, looked at some film, watched how they match up, looked at the Detroit Lions losses, and I think the losses of Cam Sutton is going to kind of hurt them more than they realize. I think Cam Sutton was kind of or not Cam Sutton, C.J. Garner-Johnson. Granted, he missed 6 games last season, but I think that loss is going to kind of hurt him. Yes, Bam Bryan is going to be better, but he is definitely no C.J. Garner-Johnson by any stretch of the imagination. I think that hurts him in the Cowboys game. In the Rams game, the lack of run stoppability, the lack of being able to put pressure on Matthew Stafford is going to hurt them. The Rams quietly have gotten they haven't taken a step back since they won the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. They've lost some key pieces. They lost Aaron Donald this offseason, obviously, but then they've added Puka. They added Kyrene Williams, and they still got Boston Scott. Like the running game is going to be tough. And Puka in like another year with a healthy Cooper Kupp, look out. Rams are going to be good. I think they're 10-7 is still respectable, still a potential playoff team, but we'll see. Matt Henry says the Lions won 1 division title in 30 years. Their fans are delusional. Every team in the NFL has more playoff wins than that includes the expansion franchises. Wow. Even the Jacksonville Jaguars? Huh. Interesting. Matt also says the Lions are the most miserable franchise in NFL history. Matt, first of all, who are you a fan of? Is it the Packers or the Vikings or the Bears? Like, are you a divisional fan, or is this speaking from some type of facts or I kind of want to dog your comment. You can say what you want, but miserable franchise, they are down there. They haven't had very much success, but then I give you the Las Vegas Raiders. Luman says, good comment, man hour. Rams and Walmart will be in the playoffs talk this year. Rams and Walmart will always be in the playoff talk. Who is Walmart? Is that Matthew Stafford? Or is that Cooper Kupp always open? I don't know. All facts. James says, I don't think they're miserable anymore. Listen, the Lions had a good last season, right? Obviously they made it to the NFC championship. Man, my baby girl's hot. They made it to the NFC championship, obviously, lost that game. Previous year, 2023, let me bring up the schedule just to make sure I'm speaking facts correctly here. But in 2023, 22, I should say. 2022, my mistake. Bring it up. Come on, computer. Yeah, they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their first 7. Then they got on a hot streak toward the end of the year. Ultimately finished in 9-8. So having back-to-back winning seasons is huge in Detroit, right? They haven't done that since mid-90s, early 90s, right? When they were battling for the division, seemed like every year with the Bucks and Packers, right? So to say they're not miserable anymore, give me one more year of success. Give me another year of 9-10 wins, and maybe that misery can kind of be put to the wayside, right? Obviously, winning playoff games last year helped a lot. They have never been to a Super Bowl. Neither have the Jaguars. Neither have the Texans. Neither have the the Cardinals have been there. I'm sure there's other teams, but they're not coming to my mind right now. I mean, there are several teams that have never been to a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean they're a miserable fan base. I don't know. One division in 30 years is miserable. Like, yeah, I get it, right? How about this? San Francisco 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl since 95. Miserable. 30 years. That's 30 years. Yeah, the Browns haven't been there either, right? So the Browns, the Jaguars, the Texans haven't been there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have. The Vikings haven't been there, have they? I don't know. Just It is what it is. Jaguars in Texas have more playoff wins than the Lions. What? Jaguars playoff wins. I am pulling it up on Google here, see how many playoff wins that the Jaguars have. Jaguars have played for 30 seasons, playoff records 8-8. I didn't realize that they had 8 playoff wins, but I guess when they were terrible, right? Or when the AFC was pretty bad, they had a lot of wins there, right? So 96, they lost in the conference championship to the Patriots. The next year, they lost in the playoffs. 98, they had a playoff win over the Patriots in the wild card round. They won a lot of wild card games. They made it to the conference championship twice, losing to the Patriots twice in 2017 and 1996. So, yeah, Matt, you are correct. I guess I did not realize that they've made it to the playoffs. Hell, from 96 to 99, they made it every year. So, four years in a row, they made the playoffs as a wild card. So, yeah, you are correct. Minnesota's made it to the Super Bowl lots of times. 4 times in the 70s, to be exact. Lions have 3 playoffs wins in their history. Miserable. Matt, you are starting to sell me. I wish my man Luke G was on here to defend his team, but you are starting to sell me a little bit. You are starting to definitely sell me on that. But guys, I do ultimately have the Detroit Lions going 10-7, knock them down 2 games from when we previously talked to them back in June. And then, so I ultimately have the Green Bay Packers winning the division at 12-5. Lions coming in at second. The Vikings are coming in third place at 6-11, and the Bears are in last place with 6-11. I will post those later today. Let me know what you guys think here. But tomorrow, guys, we got full NFC talk. Anything you want to talk about NFC, we got burning questions. So if you got a question that you're dying to ask, bring it up in the chat tomorrow, 2:30 East Coast time. Until then, we out.